I'm Brian with Hanning Law Limited, attorney for businesses and creatives. And today I'm back with my trademark series, video series. And before we get into deep on the topic today, which is the state and federal protections for an unregistered trademark, I want to do a little bit of background. So each state has its own regulatory scheme over businesses. And this can be just as simple for an industry as here's how to register the business, here's how to pay taxes, and more or less that's it, until you get employees and then you have more. Or it can be much more complicated, like many states have detailed oil and gas regulations, or licensed professions like barbers and salons, that sort of thing. And a lot of the time, a state is going to focus primarily on those activities that happen with entirely within state borders. In fact, that's mostly just what their jurisdiction is. And that typically is contract law of I, as a customer, went and bought a item from the store down the street and I'm unable to return it due to store policy. Now we're dealing with the interaction, and it's all here local. Now, what overlays this is federalism, federal law, which is the idea that both state law and federal law will apply. And they work side by side for the most part. There are some things like the FAA for airports and airlines, or other pieces like that where there's an exclusive jurisdiction to the federal government. The same thing is true where sometimes the federal government takes very little action or care about it. For example, they don't care how a business is formed. The IRS only cares that they can tax them. And so you'll get some of these situations where there's more or less weight for any particular law. With trademarks, because that's what we're looking at in this series, the weight is primarily towards federal law. And that's not to say that state law doesn't exist. There are state unfair competition laws, state trademark infringement laws based on use. There are state registrations that provide notification. It's not that when you create a trademark that it has no protection. You are a business within the state. You have the state rules around that protect you. But the reason that federal law gets so much more weight is in part because it gives you access to the federal courts, and because it's the law of all 50 states. See, with your state law, it ends at the border. And that's why it can be really hard, and you have to use other legal tools to get somebody from, say, Wyoming in a court in Nebraska, or whatever the situation is. With federal registrations, you don't have to do that. It is the law in all 50 states. And the other part is your state trademark registration can provide you very little. It's going to depend on the state, of course, but many states just have their trademark registration law stripped down for whatever reason to just providing notice, meaning you're going to get benefits out of federal law that don't otherwise exist. And those benefits are under the Lanham Act, which is where we're going to go talk to soon. And what we're going to talk about in the next video is the benefits, really, of why you should get this trademark. But I did want to highlight that under state law, you do have protections, and there is support for you even if you elect not to register at a federal level. I'll talk to you all next time.